Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning in. Today we're going to be discussing the Mizuno Wave Rebellion and how it held up to 300 miles. This was the first shoe for which I ever did a first impression, which one of the added benefits for me is a lot of the slides that I did in the beginning get to just use them again. But the Rebellion, this is the first in its line. This is supposed to be a daily trainer, but a more up-tempo daily trainer. Speedier shoe. I would compare it to the Saucony Endorphin Speed or Asics Nova Blast, or probably the Puma Nitro, Deviate Nitro. So the advances to this, now this is supposed to be a speedier wave rider, okay, and the advances from this over the wave rider was that they put in a G3 outsole is what they called it. And so this is supposed to be a lighter sole but have additional durability. The midsole, inner sole here, they use a material called the Mizuno Energy Light, which once again is supposed to be even lighter while providing more cushioning. And one of the probably the biggest change in this is the Wave Rider plate. This is, well, the Mizuno Wave plate. This is what they use for all the Wave Riders and a lot of the Wave knits and whatnot. However, this one is made of a reinforced glass fiberglass. So it's supposed to give, they actually say it's supposed to give 10 times more snap or responsiveness. I find that, actually, if I was Mizuno, I wouldn't even stated that, because then you're basically saying the Wave other shoes kind of stunk. If you can do something that has 10 times more responsiveness, it is more responsive. We'll get into that. But in any case, one of the things that Mizuno talks about, which I'm happy, is they said this is an eco-friendly material. I mean, they acknowledge that, saying, and I was trying to figure out just what exactly is the eco-friendly material. I read somewhere, I probably could have dived a bit deeper, but where there's castor bean in here somewhere. So I don't know, but at least I'm happy that they're making a move to promote at least doing this more sustainable material in their shoes. So before I dive into the basics, I'm going to put a plug here up front in the video to please consider subscribing. We've got a lot of these shoe reviews coming out. I'm doing the first impressions as well, but we have a lot of the state races coming. We're doing our West Virginia, the Greenbrier River Marathon Trail video will be coming out soon, as well as other state races. We just did the Little Rock Marathon in Arkansas. So, and we got some other videos that we're excited to put out there for you. So yeah, again, please consider subscribing. Anyways, now on to the basics, right? This is a neutral running shoe. It's made for roads. It stated it has moderate cushioning. It has an 8mm drop, right? So that means the heel here is 8mm higher than the forefoot. The size, now this is 11.5. I usually wear 12. We'll get into that in a little bit. But this was 9.98 ounces, which is 283 grams. But what's very notable about that is if you compare it to the last Wave Rider that I purchased, and that was a size 12, that was 12.1 ounces or 343 grams, brand new. So this shoe's 18% less weight to it. That's a significant drop in weight. So, and as far as the cost, $180, which at the time I purchased was the most I'd ever paid for a running shoe, until I then bought the Diodora Equipe Atomo, which, well, we did a first impression on that, but that'll be the next shoe we'll be reviewing. For the fit, the top is your standard single mesh engineered fabric. Mizuno, they always have a bit of a wide, more accommodating toe box. Even though I have narrow feet, it's never bothered me, but it's more evident on this one where you can see it puckers up, where I would cinch it up. There's no problem, but it's definitely more of an accommodating shoe for a wider foot. It's a very thin tongue. It's a semi-gusseted tongue. It's quite thin material. The eyelets, the reinforcement is light. Everything about this shoe, they've tried to keep it light. I just can't go through this whole review without talking about or questioning how this tongue ever made it out of research and development and actually into this shoe. It's just enormous. This is a bat wing sticking out of the top of your shoe. I was saying that it never bothered me at all when I was running. I could see where perhaps this laser cut then could maybe rub somebody the wrong way, but no problem here. But again, I guess the question's why. As we go from the midsole here to the heel, what I really like about this Wave Rebellion, which I really like about the Wave Riders as well, is the way the cushion slowly increases from building from the front until you go all the way, and it goes all the way, starts about here, and then builds and carries through the heel before it tapers back off once we get down to the other side. And the same thing with the bottom of the heel up to the ankle collar, slowly widens out. I feel that design fits my foot great. It always hugs me nice and tight. I don't have any slipping. It's one of the reasons I've really always liked Mizuno. Now, I mentioned this was an 11.5. So when I've worn a lot of Mizuno in my day, and to the point where I just go buy a size 12, I bring it home and I wear it. I did that with this shoe, bought a size 12, brought it home, I put it on, I looked down, and I'm thinking, this is just certainly large, and I'm staring at, and then me and my wife went by, and she goes, "Oh, what time is your tryout for the clown show?" I went ahead and brought them back, and when I went back, I also brought one of an old 12 Wave Rider, and so if you look at this photo, on the left is the 11.5 Rebellion, which I ended up purchasing. In the middle is a size 12 Wave Rider, and then to the right of that is a size 12 Rebellion. So it's obviously a good half size larger. So for me, it wasn't true to size. I listened to some other reviews. Not a single other person mentioned any issues with it. So, it's a weird. I'm not sure why. If somehow that one shipment was off. It's tough for me to. I have no idea to explain it. But in any case, if you're going to try the shoe on, I'm just putting that out there. If you have the chance, you probably want to put it on before you walk out the store. So from my past reviews that I always talk about every shoe always want to get that balance between cushioning and responsiveness, right? Less cushioning, more responsiveness, more cushioning, less responsive typically. But everybody wants to give you the best of both worlds. Well, as far as this one, right from the get-go, this shoe, the Rebellion, was a much harder ride than not really just any Wave Rider I've had, but pretty much any of my other shoes. It's a hard ride, a firm ride, but with that stiffness came that responsiveness, which was very evident right from the get-go. This is a speedy shoe. And that's what it's designed for, so certainly they hit the mark on that. It's fast. I found it the most responsive was when I was digging in on uphills, so it likes to go quick. I think it's just that the upgrade that they've done with this between the fiberglass wave plate, right, and this energy light material, that combo has made this a much faster shoe. I remember, how every once in a while too you happen to get a ride where everything just seems to go great and you're not sure why. That was right at the halfway mark with this shoe. Right, it was at mile when I crossed 150, I ended at 152 on that ride. Boy, I had just a fantastic run of about 11 miles. I felt really strong. One of those ones you wish you could bottle it up and bust it out on race day. But I tell you, for the last 75 miles, the shoe, it did lose a little bit of that cushioning. And with it, somehow, what seemed to be more evident about that point was the shoe seemed to almost slap a lot more when I was running. It was more stiff, and so I was really slapping the pavement. Even when I was trying to dig in and run a little bit quicker, it's kind of strange why I noticed it. I was trying to think, has I just not noticed it previously? But I don't think so. So I think there was a slight drop off in that cushioning right around mile 235. So if you look at the graphs, you can see that I put that slight drop off in the cushioning, and I also had it in the reflexivity right about that same time. Just a slight one. Listen, I still had plenty of good runs with it, right up through 300 miles, but there was it did start to break down ever so slightly. And the last thing I'll also add is, as far as the breathability, this shoe breathed fantastic throughout. As for the grip and wear, it was a split decision. First, the negative. just this G3 outsole, even when it was new and throughout, this is like a hard plastic. I just didn't like it the way I felt ever running. And then especially if there's any type of frozen stuff, I remember going across a bridge where there's a little bit of frost, anything like this, it's lousy. I think this also maybe had the disadvantage of, I was also, when I was wearing this for the most part, I was also wearing the Puma Deviate Nitro, which had the best grip that I've ever had on a shoe. So, maybe in comparison, it's a bad time for this one, but I did not like it. Like I said, it's like a hard plastic, and I also, as I said, that it just seemed to kind of just slap on the ground. Now, for what I liked, though, and what I've come to expect out of Mizuno and Asics is the durability. This has almost no wear to it. I mean, big heel striker. I mean, you can see where it's starting to break down a little bit here. This is 300 miles, though. The foot looks great, but I found that with Mizuno and the Wave Riders, and this is no exception, I think you're looking at a solid 500 miles on this shoe. So even though it's 180 bucks, you can get a lot of miles on it. So to summarize, this was Mizuno's attempt to take the Wave Rider and create a speedier, more up-tempo daily trainer. They hit the mark with the speedier shoe. It's great. Daily trainer, I'm not so sure. I think you want to maybe save this for your fast runs. I wore this shoe for the Little Rock Marathon, and my feet felt pretty beat up there at the end. Usually, and I don't experience it that often, but 26 miles in this hard shoe, my feet felt it. So I don't know so much a daily trainer. You're going to get a lot of miles on it, which is great. And perhaps if it's comfortable for you, then you could do it. But I think this will be a shoe that you want to just keep in a rotation. Use it for maybe some of your shorter runs, or certainly more of your up-tempo, speedier runs. They come out with a second version of this. The two things that they could do: one, then change the material for me on this outsole. Look, I know it's a lot lighter, but I think the material that you use on the Wave Rider, I put that back on the bottom of the shoe, even if it adds a little bit more weight to it. And as well as the cushioning, maybe just add a little bit more back in. I think they need to toy with that with any second version. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you've worn this shoe or if you have thoughts about it, please put it in the comment section down below. It's always really helpful, I think, especially when you have a new shoe such as this, the first version of it, to hear what other people's opinions are. Once again, please consider subscribing. More shoe reviews, more state races coming around, even some other type of training videos we're going to be putting together. So we appreciate any support and feedback. And thanks so much. Keep racing the nation.